Hare Krishna. Some years back, I did a lengthy presentation on the topic of Vaiṣṇavī Dīkṣā Guru. Should Vaishnavis become initiating gurus in ISKCON? Now, if you've not watched it, I recommend that you do so, and it's linked in the description. This presentation is the same topic, but it's focused on one simple point, which is, if Prabhupada did not establish Vaiṣṇavī Dīkṣā gurus, the GBC should not do so. Vaishnavis should not initiate in ISKCON. Now, I've taken that conclusion from Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm going to give you a little background on this. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has arrived in Mathura, and he's dancing and chanting in ecstasy. And all of the Mathura Vasis are just amazed watching him. And all of a sudden, a Shanodiya Brahmana starts to dance and chant with Lord Chaitanya, sharing the same loving ecstasy that the Lord has. And Lord Chaitanya is thinking that this person must have some kind of connection with Madhavendra Puri. This type of ecstatic love is not possible without that type of connection. So as it turns out, the Shanodiya Brahmana was initiated by Madhavendra Puri, and Madhavendra Puri visited his home, and he even ate his cooking. Now this becomes the tension point. Shanodiya Brahmanas are culturally low class, and so, strictly speaking, sannyasis do not eat their cooking, but Madhavendra Puri did. So, this then answers the question, is it really acceptable to eat the cooking of a Shanodiya? Could Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat? So, I'm going to quote the answers that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives to this question. Prabhu kahe, Shruti smiti yata rishigan, Saba eka mata nahi bhina vina dharma. The Vedas, Puranas, and great learned sages are not always in agreement with one another. Consequently, there are different religious principles. Here's a second verse. This is sort of the pivotal point around which this whole presentation is based. Dharma stapana hetu sadura vyavahar puri goshanire ye acharan se dharma sar. A devotee's behavior establishes the true purpose of religious principles. The behavior of Madhavendra Puri Goswami is the essence of such religious principles. You find this in the 17th chapter of Madhya Lila. And then Lord Chaitanya quotes this verse that Srila Prabhupada often refers to, begins, Tarko pratishta shutayo vibhina. I won't give all the Sanskrit, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's translation, dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajans advocate. How many times Srila Prabhupada is quoted? Mahajana jena gata sapanta. In other words, because Madhavendra Puri's conduct is the essence and conclusion of all scriptures, although there was a tradition of not eating at Shanodiyas, Madhavendra Puri's conduct was the real answer to the question, can a sannyasi eat a Shanodiya Brahman's cooking? And the answer was yes. So Lord Chaitanya said, and I will repeat, the Vedas, Puranas, and great learned sages are not always in agreement with one another. Consequently, there are different religious principles. And then, Dharma stapana hetu sadura vyavahar puri goshanire je acharana se dharma sar. A devotee's behavior establishes the true purpose of religious principles. The behavior of Madhavendra Puri Goswami is the essence of such religious principles. So please keep this in mind. A devotee's behavior establishes the true purpose of religious principles. Now, in the case of this Vaiṣṇavī Dīkṣā Guru controversy, Srila Prabhupada is the devotee, or more clearly, the unadulterated, self-realized person. So let's see, what is Srila Prabhupada's behavior? We saw Madhavendra Puri's behavior. Now what is Srila Prabhupada's behavior? In the 12 years, Srila Prabhupada never put Vaishnavis in the position of senior authority. Not temple president, not GBC, no leadership position, and ultimately not a guru. So what does that say to you? There were women, there are women who are faithful, intelligent, and Krishna conscious, more so than some men, more so than many men. For instance, about Jamuna Devi, Srila Prabhupada said if she had taken birth as a man, he would have appointed her as a GBC. She was a very good manager. And Srila Prabhupada added, but if she were a woman GBC member, then Jamuna would only have 1/2 of a vote. Still, Srila Prabhupada didn't make her a GBC. So please note that as a woman, Jamuna Devi would have 1/2 a vote on the GBC. Srila Prabhupada did not make men and women socially equal. Spiritually, no question, but when it came to taking managerial responsibility, leadership's responsibility, Srila Prabhupada didn't. So the real point is, why in all that time did Srila Prabhupada not select even one Vaishnavi in a leadership position? At the end, why didn't Srila Prabhupada select at least one Vaishnavi as a Diksha Guru? One. So the question does require an answer, and there is one. Prabhupada's conduct is the answer. And what was Prabhupada's conduct? As far as leadership, because women should always be protected, they should not be in an independent leadership position. So Prabhupada didn't want women in service of leaders. And now, honing in on disciples becoming gurus, what did Prabhupada say or do in that regard? In 1977, Srila Prabhupada repeatedly spoke to men about the topic of guru, but not once did he speak to women. For example, this was in Mumbai in April, 22nd of April, Srila Prabhupada is saying, this is actually a quote from Servant of the Servant. That night, Srila Prabhupada asked Akshayananda Maharaj, are you ready to initiate disciples? I want to retire now. Akshayananda replied that with Prabhupada's order came the ability to carry it out, therefore he was ready. And when it came to selecting Diksha Gurus, Prabhupada selected men. He did not select Vaishnavis as a guru. Now why not? A point aside, but important, Srila Prabhupada was aware that at that time women were not treated in the nicest possible way in ISKCON. If he wanted to make a point about women's equality, here was a golden opportunity, but Srila Prabhupada didn't do so. Why not? Again, there were women who were faithful, intelligent, and Krishna conscious, more so than some men, but still he did not do it. So in light of Dharma Stapana Hetu, his conduct says something. Currently, ISKCON devotees argue, quoting different pros and cons regarding Vaishnavis becoming Diksha Gurus in our movement. I ask, Who is to say what is the conclusion of this argument? Is it the GBC? They are certainly the ultimate authority in the movement, but that doesn't necessarily mean that their decision is correct. And they are divided. Devotees with this opinion and devotees with that opinion. As Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj once said, Siddhanta is not established by votes. So who is to say what is the conclusion on the Vaiṣṇavī Dīkṣā Guru controversy? My humble answer is Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is always correct. How will he then say what the decision is? He has said it by his actions. He didn't make Vaiṣṇavī Dīkṣā Gurus. His conduct, that conduct, is the essence and conclusion of all scriptures. So based on Srila Prabhupada's conduct, Vaiṣṇavī Dīkṣā Gurus are not sanctioned by scripture. And if Prabhupada didn't do it, we should not do it. There should be no Vaiṣṇavī Dīkṣā Gurus in ISKCON. Summary, weigh everything in the balance. Prabhupada's consistent conduct versus the resolution of the GBC that is based on two references by Srila Prabhupada to Vaiṣṇavī as the initiator, Krishna's eternally liberated associate. Yes, Vaiṣṇavī initiated devotees and Srila Prabhupada referred to her. But keep this in mind. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, quote, "The Vedas, Puranas, and great learned sages are not always in agreement with one another. Consequently, there are different religious principles." Yes, Vaishnavis can initiate, like Janava, transcendentalists, but not practitioners. Maybe other so-called Vaishnavas, Vaishnav Sampradayas, do let women initiate. Gaudiya Math does not. Madhava Sampradaya does not, Ramanuja Sampradaya does not, and Srila Prabhupada did not want Vaiṣṇavī Dīkṣā Gurus in ISKCON. If he did, he would have done it. And since he didn't, we shouldn't do it. Quote, "A devotee's behavior establishes the true purpose of religious principles. And the behavior of Madhavendra Puri Goswami is the essence of such religious principles." That is my understanding. But, just a minute, please hold on. There are two alternatives on this topic. Either I'm right or I'm wrong. Now, if you also agree that women should not initiate, then don't just sit by. As of February of this year, which is a little more than a month away, the moratorium on Vaiṣṇavī Dīkṣā Gurus is up. That means sadhaka women will initiate. Some are already doing so. Vaiṣṇavī Dīkṣā Guru will become the standard in ISKCON. And all this against Prabhupada's own example. Now you can do something. You have the right to do so, and you have the obligation to do so. What can you do? Please do not sit by. Communicate to your GBC, your temple president, your zonal supervisor. You don't want ISKCON transformed into an Apa Sampradaya. That is what many devotees are feeling in the movement. And from those Vaishnavas who are viewing ISKCON outside, they are also fearing this fate. Prabhupada did not do it. We shouldn't. Write a letter, send a petition, personally speak to your GBC member, show that you do not agree, and that the GBC should stop the practice of Vaiṣṇavī Dīkṣā Gurus, should not sanction it any further. That's it. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.